Good morning to Doctor and my beloved friend. We are Group 18 and today we are presenting our topic. Our topic is Keynesian School, a slowdown in the rate of economic growth. First, I would like to introduce our group member. My name is Ng Kan Chen. My member is have Surani Binti Putra, Griselda Anna Andri Sangai, Dimai Hesdi, and Siti Nashwa Manisha Binti Abdullah. Next, I will pass to my member.
So, hello guys, my name is Stephen Hesley, code matrix 109662. So today I will present my published introduction of the selected economic theory, which is Keynesian economics. So, who developed this theory is developed by John Maynard Keynes during the Great Depression era during the 1930s. So, what is the importance of this Keynesian theory? So, it's widely used by government during the economic downfall, and it helps stabilize economic growth and employment rates. So, the main focus of the importance of this aggregate demand in the Keynesian theory is actually household consumption, business investment, government spending, and net export. So the main ideas of Keynesian economics is that overall demand drives the economy. So this includes the one that I have already stated just now. So if overall demand, like in my next point, overall lower demands may lead to lower production. So with lower production, the higher the unemployment. So with these two in hand, economic growth will grow slower. So what can government intervene during this low demands situation? Increasing public spending and reducing taxes. So with the intervene of government, it helps with the bumps up of economic production. So what are the multiplier effects? So government spending will create jobs and incomes, while increasing spending from the household leads to high economic activities. Okay, so that's it all for me. Thank you.
Today I am presenting an identification of slowdown in economic growth based on the 2026 outlook from the IMF, World Bank, and World Economic Forum. After a resilient 2025, global momentum now faces risk from military conflict in the Middle East and energy supply disruptions, leading to a major trade of stagflation characterized by slow growth and rising inflation. IMF projection for 2027 show growth between 3.1% and 3.2%, while the World Bank projects 2026 growth at 2.6%. We are navigating three primary challenges. First, a widening income gap, where developing nations' income is only 12% of that in advanced economies. Second, fiscal pressure, which has led over half of developing nations to adopt strict fiscal rules to improve budget balance. Third, economic risk, specifically a price-wage spiral and financial instability that is making it harder to secure loans. In summary, while advanced economies have recovered, developing nations face significant hurdles. That's all for me. Thank you.
In this part, I will analyze Malaysian economic growth slowdown through the perspective of a Keynesian school. The Keynesian school argues that economic growth is strongly influenced by aggregate demand, which refers to the total spending in an economy. The formula is AD equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus M. C is consumption, I is investment, G is government spending, X is import, M is export. From the Keynesian perspective, when aggregate demand decreases, businesses may experience low sales. As a result, they may reduce production, delay investment, or slow down hiring. This will eventually lead to slower GDP growth. Therefore, Keynesian theory is useful in explaining how weaker demand can cause an economy to grow at a slower rate. In Malaysia's case, the issue is not necessarily an economic recession. It is better described as a moderation in economic growth. When the economy continues to expand but a slower pace, this situation can be explained through the Keynesian view. Malaysian growth depends on several components of aggregate demand. especially household consumption, private investment, government spending, and export. When global demand becomes weaker, Malaysia export may slow down. At the same time, businesses uncertainty can reduce private investment. Higher living costs may also cause households to spend more casually. As a result, total demand in the economy may weaken. This where Keynesian theory enhances the role of government intervention to support demand during periods of slower growth. This can be seen in Malaysia's recent economic performance. In the second quarter of 2025, Malaysia recorded GDP growth of 4.4%. Although external demand was softer, the economy was still supported by domestic consumption and investment. Another example is the first quarter of 2026, when Malaysia's economy expanded by 5.4%. The growth was mainly driven by domestic demand and household spending. These examples show that domestic demand play an important role in stabilizing the economy when external demand is weak. For the Keynesian's perspective, household spending and investment are important because one person's spending becomes another person's income. This creates a continuous flow of economic activity and helps prevent a sharper slowdown. Keynesian's theory also highlights the importance of government action during economic uncertainty. For example, during the COVID-19 crisis, Malaysia introduced stimulus packages such as Perhatian and Penjana. These measures support households, protect businesses, and helps maintain spending when private demand was weak. Budget 2026 also reflects Keynesian ideas through private investment, government spending on infrastructure, school, hospital, and transport projects can create jobs, increase income, and encourage further spending in the economy. This process is now as a multiple effects, where an initial increase in government spending can generate a larger impact on national income. In conclusion, the Keynesian school is relevant to Malaysia's economic growth slowdown because it shows that weak aggregate demand can slow economic growth. Government spending, household support, and private investment can help stabilize the economy and reduce the risk of a deeper slowdown.
Moving on to 4.0 critical reflection, today we look at Malaysian 2026 economic slowdown through a Keynesian lens. The main advantage of this theory is it picks picture focus, showing that when global conflicts cause our export and investment to drop, government spending must step in to boost aggregate demand, just like how cash ads and the 81 billion ringgit development budget recently drove a 5.4% GDP growth via the multiplier effect. However, traditional Keynesian management has major limitations. Malaysia faces heavy import leakage that the current 2026 slowdown is actually a supply-side energy shock of rather than weak demand, pushing demand further when unemployment is already at a decade low, 2.9% risk a severe inflation spiral, and our rigid 60% operating budget leaves a very narrow fiscal envelope. Therefore, our integrated solution proposed combining short-term Keynesian demand support like targeted SARA cash ads with aggressive supply sides structural reforms by redirecting budget 2026 funds into high-value capacity building like AI, data centers, and green energy, alongside targeted subsidy reform like Budi 95 and Budi cells. We can stop fiscal leakage, resolve our 35.8% underemployment rate, and build a highly resilient, non-inflationary economy.
Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Suraini binti Putra, mensis number 101132. Today I will briefly present the conclusion. Keynesian economics, developed by John Maynard Keynes, explained that economic growth depends greatly on aggregate demand. When people spend less and businesses reduce investment, economic growth slows down and unemployment may increase. Based on my findings, Keynesian's theory is still relevant today. It suggests that the government can help stimulate the economy through fiscal policies such as increasing public spending, reducing tax, and providing financial assistance. Malaysia has used this measure during economic downturn to support businesses, create jobs, and encourage economic recovery. Through this assignment, I learned that government spend can create a multiplier effect. When the government spend more, it increase income and employment, which then encourage further spending and investment in the economy. However, Keynesian economy also has some limitation. Too much government spending can lead to higher public debt and inflation. It also does not fully address issues such as productivity and technological change. Therefore, policymakers should also consider other economic theories when making decisions. In conclusion, Keynesian economics remain an important theory for understanding economic growth and managing economic slowdown. By combining Keynesian ideas with other economic approach, governments can create more effective policies for sustainable growth and long-term prosperity. That's all for our group. Thank you.